My name is Jeng. I am an analyst from Gartner Research. My focus of research is on risk, compliance, legal, security. So I am here actually to present to this particular RISQ conference today. Do we, as a society, are we proactive enough? I don't think so. I think the reality is some organizations, some people are more keen on the cybersecurity issues. They may have better understanding, better protection themselves, proactively looking for ways to protect their identity, their data. The same thing applies to the society, to organizations, to business. So I think in general, I don't believe so. I think more is required, more understanding, more attention, more investment needs to be made because of the pervasiveness of digital usage in our life, in the culture, in the society. Are the governments, individual governments, doing enough to educate the society, even from a governance, from a policy, legal regulations perspective? I think this goes with the maturity of a society in terms of the issues and also the overall framework of the legal system. So in general, I would say laws are kind of behind things. That's why we call case law. When there's something already happened, then after the effect, we look at how we should create new regulations, new policies. But when it comes to government responsibility and role in this whole cybersecurity discussion, I think certainly there is this notion of internet segregation, if you will, because countries like Russia and China are coming up with very stringent data protection laws, cybersecurity laws, to make sure that data needs to retain physically in their own jurisdiction, right? So the intention sometimes it's anti-terrorism, sometimes it's protecting consumers themselves. So I definitely think government has a critical role in this cybersecurity because it's cutting across jurisdiction borders, right? So internet usage technology really made the physical borders meaningless, right? So your data could be easily stored completely in a different country, whereas you're using the application in your own location, right? What does that mean to jurisdiction-bounded laws, practices, regulations applicable to that, right? So there's a lot of newer issues due to the cybersecurity issue coming into the play. So therefore, it brings this new attention, new conflict at the same time for the government's influence and their responsibilities. That is really the ultimate question, right? So when a citizen is the victim of cyber crimes, right? So you could be one of those people lost your credit card information, right? So you worry. And you could be your identity got stolen, or you could be having inaccurate broadcasting or news about you, right? So all of these, I think, definitely have a strong impact on the newer generation because they're also more open to new platforms, right? So the fact that, for example, in public education in the US, now from I believe from middle school, even elementary school, students are taught to manage their online identity, right? So there's portion that individual citizen needs to pay attention to, but at the same time, if you are a victim, I think there's corporate responsibility to it. And again, going back to the same sort of discussion on the legal issue, right? So ultimately, you need to be compensated, right? Your name to be restored when something happened that didn't happen, right? So we have those things called the rights to be forgotten, for example, right? If something happened many, many years ago, I don't want that search to come up because I'm getting a new job. My new employer might think I'm a completely different person. So I think crimes are definitely need to be punished in the way that physical crimes already in place by law, by police, by law enforcement. But I think there's a lot of vague, unclear boundaries in the cyber crimes. Sometimes the victims are not properly protected, or their names are not really justified in the end. So there's a lot new things need to happen in law, in regulations, in policies, and there's a big responsibility on the on the technology providers themselves, right? So Google, Facebook, Twitter, all these big platforms, what is their ethical responsibilities for protecting their users, right? That's the same thing we ask within a business environment, right? How we protect our consumer information, our user information. I know in Canada, you probably have a more stringent privacy law, and that's happening in more and more jurisdictions and countries. So this is an area I think we shouldn't really wait for really bad things to happen to people, then we come up with new measures and new controls.